when you start putting them together. And so I was running into issues of deformity, and I didn't want the deformity. Wanted to make the steps as cleanly square looking as possible. So went back to my old friends, anti-voxels. Anti-voxels are great for a whole number of things. You can see anti-voxels up here. What we're going I'm not going to get into how to make an anti-voxel right now. I'll put link to the tutorial on how to make anti-voxels. Basically, we're going to use anti-voxel strings. What I'm going to do is show here what I did to come up with a solution to basically build this style of a pattern of steps, but one that didn't deform upon building up the steps. So what I did is I started with an anti-voxel string. I have one here, a 1 voxel wide anti-voxel string, and just going to place that here kind of in the middle of nowhere. If you haven't seen one of these before, haven't worked with one before, it's just a very small, it's similar in size to a microvoxel, but has unique properties that the anti-voxels do not like to connect up to the other microvoxels around it, unlike regular microvoxels do, and regular voxels as well. So as you can see, the string passes in the center part of the voxel on the one axis and touches the faces on each of the other axes. This is different than, you can also make these strings with microvoxels, but those will travel from the center point of a voxel to another center point of a voxel, also passing through the center. So that those strings will actually take up 2 voxels rather than the 1 voxel that this one takes up, and also doesn't have the unique properties that anti-voxels have. So what we're going to do is, now I wanted to make a staircase that I have some towers that are 20 by 20 voxels. So that's the size of staircase I went for. I wanted to go for a staircase that would be 20 by 20. So being that one side of a triangle of the section would be half of that, I went for 10 by 10. So that's what you see here laid out, and I will go through the steps here in a moment. I just want to, I've got all the steps kind of laid out here, and then I'm going to actually do this again. And so I take the anti-voxel string that I showed you just a moment ago, and I laid out 10 of them lengthwise going this way, 10 here. Then we came back here and rotated it 90 degrees and laid out 10 more going in this direction. Okay. It's tricky, by the way. Tricky lining all that up. That's very hard. Sometimes you have to be patient, be very patient, and usually you can undo anti-voxels and they will, for the most part, fall back into place when you're lining them up this way, the anti-voxel strings, but sometimes not. You'll notice also this is asymmetrical. It is not symmetrical. These things will never be symmetrical. It's just part of the deal. So we went 10 this way, 10 this way, and then what I did here is, it may not be obvious, but I didn't rotate the voxel. I kept it parallel to this line here, and I started here, and I moved up one spot this way, and then one spot this way, and then dropped it right there. And it creates this diamond-shaped pattern. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these, 8 more copies of these strings going across this way, creating this diamond-like pattern. So we got this. All right. Now, what I wanted to do with this was make this nice and flat. So what I needed to do was make it accessible to our line tool. And so what I did was I took this and I made a copy of it, and I laid it out here. Out there, I laid it out here. Oh, I laid it out here first. And you can see that this still has triangular edge. And I stacked a number of these up, one on top of the other, 5 of them all together. And the voxels stretch out to fill the voids. And then what I did was in the center, using the paste or the add tool, I went in and pasted in this stone. The material could be anything. I'm using different colors here to help highlight, and also polished granite smooths up real nice. So I took this, and I cut out the 2 middle slices. 2 slices out of the middle, took them over here and dropped them down. And then I took the line tool, grabbed it from the one end, and just stretched it out over to the other end. And that filled that in real nice. Alright, and then I copied that. And I stacked it up a couple more times. See over there. And then that was my first attempt. I took it here, copied it twice, looks like. And from this, actually no, I took a single slice off this, made 5 copies here, and then smoothed it 4 times. Didn't want to smooth it too much, just enough. Oh, and I foobarred it when I dropped this down. Funny. But that's alright, because I'm going to redo it. So, we dropped it down, smoothed it up, took a slice out of that, and that slice, we dropped it down right here. And then I mirrored it over here and added, just copied and pasted regular old voxels right in there in between. And this one actually comes out with a little bit of a lip. Still, it works pretty well. And then you just copy this, move it up, rotate it around. What you end up with is this. Now, as you can see, when you add these blocks in, for whatever reason, it turns the pattern on some of these steps. So, you either have to deal with the fact that the pattern isn't exactly the same on every step, though it certainly is symmetrical in the sense that it repeats itself. in the same spots. The diagonals have the diamond patterns and the squares have the straight patterns. So you could use different materials, or you could just paint it all with a single material if you want it just to be all uniform of whatever type. And so this is how this stair ends up. You'll notice the surfaces are very, very flat. The steps are nicely squared off. Very nicely squared off. Not perfect. Not 100% identical. But very, very square. And there you have it. You have a working spiral staircase